Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm sorry it's been so long since I've been on, but I have had to assist a family member with a mental health crisis, and it triggered a PTSD issue for me. So like I said, I'm sorry that it's been so long, but I had to work through all of that. Um, I would like to go ahead and start by saying that we're going to be talking, or I'm going to be talking about conservatorships and the difference between conservatorship and guardianship. I've done both. Um, I have what is called a DOPA, which is a type of conservatorship. It's for my mother, which is called a durable power of attorney. So it can have two different sections. It can be like for medical only or financial only, or it can be both, a bridge of both. They particularly like it if there's two different people, one handling one and one handling the other one. But unfortunately, in my mother's case, um, it's just me. So there you go. Um, so that falls under the conservatorship. The difference between conservatorship and guardianship, honestly, is age. So anybody 18 years or younger, um, or up to 18 years of age, falls under the guardianship. And that is a whole step and procedure. And it is going in front of the judge and saying, yes, this guardianship needs to proceed or take place or whatever. Um, I do have experience with that, and for my niece, and uh, he's doing so much better now. But yeah, so I have done that. And then I've also been conservatorship twice. Um, Twice, so I've been through that process as well. When I'm talking about this, I'm going to be talking about it from a personal perspective and some of the bumps along the way, and not everybody's experience is going to be the same. My suggestion would be for you to reach out to attorneys to find out the um, full ramifications of everything and the responsibilities, and not just talk to somebody and say, oh, I feel good doing this, because it was an emergency situation on the first conservatorship, and I kind of jumped in with both feet without really fully investigating what conservatorship actually was and what was involved in it. It is, I will say this for it, it is almost like an act of God because to get it, because somebody has to be considered gravely disabled in order to have one. And so that at least with my experience, there were three doctors that had to agree that this is what was needed to keep this family member safe, right? So, yeah, so I mean, that's what it is. It's taking somebody's rights essentially away from them and giving it to somebody else to care and watch over them so that, it keeps them safe from whatever, but it's still a fine line, and not everybody agrees on how to handle or manage that, or how much the person who is being the conservatee needs to be involved in that process. And they should be involved in that process from the very beginning, because it is their rights and they might not like it and they might not see the whole need for it. But if a judge is saying that yes, it is needed, it's because there's a lot of information and instances that had happened. So in my experience and from my situation, it was multiple hospitalizations and doctors agreeing, right? So it was almost like a back-to-back kind of thing. So he was in, this person was in the hospital more than 12 times in 1 year, which is excessive. So that put it, it fell under gravely disabled, and there were multiple doctors, psychiatrists, and stuff who were in agreement, as well as the fact that there were multiple, like, I won't say arrest because it wasn't really arrest, it was like more police contact with them taking this person to the hospital, being placed on a hold, or um, and having that hold extended or placed into a lockdown facility. So it's a whole big process. I'm going to encourage you um, to talk to an attorney if you can't afford an attorney. Actually, going to legal aid. They're very helpful and beneficial, and they will tell you the requirements that are needed in your I'm sorry. in your specific area. And just so we're clear about it, when I'm talking from my own personal experience. I'm going to be going over a little bit about the different types of conservatorships. I won't be going over that much about guardianship, because guardianship is basically you're taking a child in, you're being given a legal right with that child to essentially make decisions for the child, keep a roof over its head, food in its stomach, clothes on its back, doing what you need to do to take care of that child, right? So um, that's pretty straightforward with the guardians for guardianship. It's still a legal process, and it's still the fact that you have to go before a court, and you have to talk to a judge, and you have to be able to tell that judge or show that judge the reasons for behind why you are doing what you uh, did. Um, I felt that for my niece, when it came to the guardianship for her, it was actually a matter of life and death. I think that she honestly was not in a very safe place for herself. I and I'm still grateful to this day. This has been a number of years now that this happened, but and I don't think that much has changed about it. At least when I was doing my research and reading, it didn't look like much had changed. You still should have an attorney represent you and stuff, but if you're very organized and detail oriented, and you can attempt to do it on your own, but there are things and steps that you will miss. I'm almost positive about that, because the legal process of it is so overwhelming. So overwhelming. You really do need that support of somebody who has that knowledge and is comfortable working with the court. Um, so on the conservatorships, it's a court proceeding in which a judge appoints a family member, friend, or other responsible persons, usually the guardian's office of the city or county you're in, to care for another adult who cannot care for themselves and or their finances. Okay, and I am reading that, and the reason I'm reading it is because it's accurate information, and it does fall under what happened with me in my situation. Um, there are different types of conservatorship. Um, I wrote them all down. Hold on a second, because my page just flipped and I wasn't ready. Yepers. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there are 4 different types of conservatorship. There are a durable power of attorney, which is a DPOA, which is what I have with my mom. So, like if the person has dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, or just is not able to really manage their own finances or living situation, and they need somebody to step in. So, CPS can, or I'm sorry, not CPS. Adult Protective Services, APS, can step in, or family can step in and start the process of that. I was very fortunate in this one because my mother and I have had conversations about this, and when it started to get time for where she was really having and struggling and stuff, she agreed to this. So we put all of her wishes down and what she wanted me to handle and what she didn't want me to handle. And um, um, we discussed my brothers, and she was not comfortable with either one of them being responsible for that. So she has me on her durable power of attorney for both her finances and medical decisions. And that has to do with the fact also too that my mother and I currently live together, and I am taking care of her. So I am her caregiver as well. She's still able to function and have conversations and is doing really good. I'm very proud of her. But yeah, so that's considered that is considered a type of conservatorship. And it can be as limited or as encompassing as the person who it is on is giving you. Okay. Um, there is also a conservatorship that is called a, what is it? It is a general probate conservatorship. Now, the difference with this is that the conservator cannot place the conservatee, or the person who's being conserved, into a lockdown situation as far as their mental health, or against place them anywhere against their will. Um, they can be placed on this temporarily until it gets before a judge to be able to switch it over to the LPS. But there are cases where it's just a general probate type of conservatorship, and then it goes before a judge, and then they make a decision based on what is needed. So there are seven different powers that a conservator has over a conservatee. So it can be applied to multiple different situations, not just one situation. Like maybe you have somebody who has severe autism or Asperger's and they need certain things, right? Or, oh, what's another situation? The only one I can really think of is like autism and Asperger's, where it's very severe. Oh, Down syndrome would be another one. Because you want to prepare, right? And you want to be able to protect that person, but still allow them to have their life, and not limit them. Uh, you want them to be able to live up to their expectation of what they want in their life too. And it's kind of a fine balance. So it'll go before the judge, and the limited conservatorship for the conservatee is what the judge is deciding. So he appoints that person, or says yes to that person, and says that they can, number one, fix the conservatee's residence. So they're determining where that person is going to be living, and they're in charge of that portion of it. Okay, that's the only thing that that they're entitled to if that's what the judge says. Then there's other ones. This gives them access to a conservatee's confidential records or papers. And that might be necessary for like, if the person it has some type of health issue or whatever, and it's about being responsible for like maybe a portion of the healthcare and stuff, but this could also fall in other things. So please double check with an attorney because I am not an attorney. Okay, far from it. I'm I'm Mama Bear is what I am. That's what I am, Mama Bear. Anyway, they also have the third one is consent or to withhold consent to a conservatee to marry. So there might be some issues there on the decision-making processes of a person and their capacity to make that choice. So a judge could say, yes, we need this, and add that into that portion. Um, they also have the third one, which is consent or withhold consent. Oh, wait, I already did that. Confidential, but I jumped ahead. Sorry. Okay, exercise a conservative's right to enter a contract. So they can't sign their own contracts. They have to bring it to the conservator to talk to about it to decide whether that the conservatee is it's appropriate to enter into that contract or no. They cannot sign a contract by themselves. Um, to give or withhold medical consent on behalf of the conservatee. So that would fall part of like the durable power of attorney that I was talking about just a minute ago, um, where you're making decisions about medical stuff and where you're talking to the person, the conserved person. So, but you're fulfilling the wish, like you're saying, yes, this needs to be done, or no, this does not need to be done, or what have you, any combination thereof. Exit, exercise or limit the conservatee's right to control social and sexual contact and relationships. So if a conservator feels that a relationship or a sexual relationship is detrimental to the person who's being conserved, the conservator can say, no, I'm sorry, you can't have that relationship. That is bad for you. And for whatever reason, and the answer is no. So that can actually happen. And then a conservator can make decisions about the conservatee's education. So if they want to continue education, or let's say that they're in a specific school for whatever reason, a conservator can make the decision about a person's education. So you can see with these questions why the court is very hesitant, if not downright pulling on the reins here, to place somebody on a conservatorship. Even a limited conservatorship is very intrusive, and there has to be valid reasons, and it can't just because you have. And this is one of the things that I had the most problem with when I started to go through this process, right, to become a conservator, or dealing with the mental health situation at all. It's you're so afraid, and you're seeing the same patterns repeat over and over and over again, that you're going by what they call old habits. It doesn't guarantee that the person is going to do them again. So they go, normally the courts go between 6 weeks and 3 months prior to whatever incident brought the person before the court. So they don't look at the full and total history. Now, for years, I did what I would call a chronological event uh, event thing, keeping track of everything: police contacts, hospitalizations, in and out, rehabs, facilities, different facilities. and experiences. And I went through and I took out all of the emotion. I took out every single emotion. And I thought that if I presented these things when it would come up to the court, and I presented my chronological, which had no emotion and was just, you could do it at a glance, right? You could just read it. I mean, it got to be because, let's face it, mental health doesn't take a holiday and it's not cured by one simple little pill. It's a forever thing. It's a forever thing. And I had to let that go because it was ruining my own mental health, number one. And number two is, it's like things change, people change, even people who have mental health, severe or gravely uh, disabled mental health issues change. It's them learning how to manage and deal and accept with whatever situation they're in. And that is a very difficult thing. And I've found that. So, and in this chronological, honestly, they the court and the attorneys and the DA and social workers would just look at me, glance at the one page, which is fine, and just dismiss it like, because I'm the mom. I'm the mom. I don't know nothing. I I can't tell him nothing. We don't know what he's going to do, you know? Yeah, I can't do anything. So I had to kind of let that go. And that was extremely difficult. But with, as you can tell, just by my talking about the limited conservatorship, just think about being totally on a conservatorship. That's extremely, extremely difficult. Uh, and it's a very hard thing. It's not easy. It really isn't. And you really, hopefully, I'm hoping, are creating your own uh, support system to be able to help you through those times. It actually does really help. Um, I had a great have, I shouldn't say had, it's my support system is altered and changed over the course of the years. And I still have some core people that um, I talk about with my concerns about. And plus, I'm in therapy myself. So I also talk to my therapist to make sure that my mental health stays balanced because when you have mental health crises with somebody who is considered gravely disabled, um, it, which I just realized and found this out, this real, yeah, just found it out. It brings back a lot of stuff and it can cause anxiety and uh, panic attacks. And I have some PTSD about it, honestly. So, yeah, it's really hard because you're trying to keep your loved ones safe, but you're also trying to allow them to be people of who they are, right? And that's a really hard balance, uh, hard thing to do. LPS is considered the Lanterman Petrus Short Act. And with this LPS, it is all encompassing and it can, you can commit, a conservator can commit, um, do an involuntary commitment for the conserved person, and they have to be considered gravely disabled in order to have that. That is part of the reason why the courts are such sticklers about what is considered gravely disabled. Like now, at the time that this was going on, for myself, because of the multiple hospitalizations and police contacts and stuff within such a short period of time, right? It was granted. But the thing of these are that the person who's conserved can fight it. they can go to the public defender's office and they can fight the conservatorship. And believe me, the public defender's office, as talented as and as silly as some of them are doing their job, and I understand that, but I don't like it because when you're considering somebody who's gravely disabled, it's it is a hard balance because it's like, how do you protect the person by allowing them to still have their life and still protect the community and the family or other people? Because when they're going through a psychosis, they're not thinking about consequences. They're not thinking about um, what can happen, what is going to be the consequence of their action. They're going to have to suffer that consequence later on down the road. But then how many, like we've heard so much on the news about all these people who have mental health issues who are getting weapons and killing and stuff like that. And I'm sure that their families didn't raise them that way or want them to be that way or what have you. And they probably screamed from the rafters. I know that I screamed from the rafters regarding and concerning my situation, and it was a deaf ear. Um, I am at some point going to be talking, I'm going to be doing another video um, concerning mental health and the police. Um, I actually did write a couple of articles, or not articles, they're not even articles. They were emails about to like a radio station. I sent a copy to my councilman or congressman and all of that about the changes that needed to happen. The mayor, I think I did a mayor too. But I'll be going over that at a different time. The the main thing here is the LPS is taking a person's right away. When they're on this conservatorship, they don't have a right to vote. They are as if they are children, right? They have the same rights as children do. But they can contest it. If you can get them to voluntarily go on conservatorship, then that's wonderful. That's great, and be thankful that that person is agreeing to that conservatorship because it is very difficult, and it has to go before the court every year. It has to be reapproved by a judge every year. This is not just something that goes on in perpetuity that I'm aware of, unless I'm not sure about people who have other issues such as Down syndrome or severe mental handicap. But I am aware of people who are bipolar, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, all of those. So I am aware of those. So I just really want to encourage you to make sure that you're finding out that this is what you want to do and what the um, legal, I don't want to say legalness, but I'm getting a little stuck in my head. No, it's to be able to find out all of the information before you actually make that choice and decision, because everybody handles everything different. Like, I am a tenacious person, okay? I'm very stubborn. I like I said, I'm a mama bear about anybody who I love and who I care about. And so I don't have an off button. I don't have an off button, and I didn't think that I had a limit button, but I'm finding that I'm having to find my limit button. I'm having to find my boundaries in order to be able to assist um, the person better, my family members better, or my family member better, um, with what they're going through. Because if I can't demonstrate it and I can't show it, then how are they supposed to learn, how to do it for themselves? Of course, always will be here for that person or those people and love them to pieces. But, it's, yeah, you do get to that time. And I never understood why, um, when I would go to the hospital for my niece or for my son or for another family member, I never understood why they didn't have visitors or, you know, family or whatever showing up for them when they were in there. I understand now. I understand now. There's a limit that everybody has, and some people's limits are a little shorter and other people's are a little longer. Um, but it doesn't mean that they don't love or care about their family member. It just means that they have to protect themselves as well. And not everybody can offer that kind of support or get that kind of support, right? I have a wonderful support system, and I feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to have that. And I just really want to encourage you, however your support system looks like, to reach out to it. Mental health has a stigma associated with it only because we don't talk about it. You're talking about the brain, right? You're talking about a person's um, mental capacity and choices and everything else like that. In psychosis, they can be one way. And then when they're out of psychosis and on their meds or doing what they need to do for themselves, they could be that person that that you love and stuff. And it's it's a disease that just, I won't even say it's an illness. I'm going to call it a disease because this thing has a forever button. This is chronic. It's not acute, although there are acute episodes, which acute means just, the big up and down for whenever they either go off their meds or their body chemistry changes and the medication isn't working as effectively as before and stuff like that. And there's a whole bunch of new therapies that are starting to come out, which we'll get into on another video. But right now with the conservatorships, I really want you to understand the difference between what a conservatorship is and what a guardianship is. And the fact that you really should um, contact a lawyer or a legal aid. Go to legal aid. Um, I don't know if you could go to the public defender's office if they would talk to you. I don't see why they wouldn't. So if you go to a public defender's office, which is located at your county seat or at the courthouse or whatever, um, I think that they would answer any questions that you might have, um, or give you at least information and a direction to go. Uh, the problem I have as far as the mental health stuff of it is honestly when uh, you're going through this process and starting to head to the conservatorship and stuff like that. When you're talking about them going in and out of the hospital and stuff, I'm talking going in and out of the hospital and they have a doctor's appointment that was set up for them or not set up for them, but given a card with phone numbers for them to call and stuff. And their minds are so overwhelmed that they can't handle that information. And yet they're just being shoved all of this paperwork. So how are they supposed to be successful? So, like I said, it's a pretty big subject. I hope that I'm gonna pull back a little bit because I'm getting off topic. Oh my God. Can you see my little soapbox I'm starting to stand on? Oh, But yeah, I think that the differences of the conservatorship with durable power of attorney, uh, durable power of attorneys is one. Again, to recap, limited conservatorships, so the judge can put one from 1 to 7 things that a person can be conserved under. It doesn't have to be all 7. It could be one. It can even be part of a one, not even a full one. It's whatever the court or the judge determines is appropriate for that situation. The general probate situation, like I said, they can't put a person who has a mental health issue into the hospital against their will. So that one can't do that. But on the LPS, you can dictate if that person needs to be placed in a lockdown facility for their safety. Again, that's another process. So uh, an example would be your loved one ends up on a hold, a 5150 hold, and they're getting ready to extend that hold for longer, right? So as a conservator, you can go and call, not just wait for the social worker, but you can go and call different facilities to see if they have that you would like that your loved one to be in, and see if they will accept that person and if they have a bed available. If that is the case, you can say, okay, could you please hold that bed? And once you get the okay for that, then you call the hospital and say, okay, he's being placed at this facility. This is where I want him taken. This is where I want, this is what I want done. And then because you have the conservatorship over that person, that is what happens. I have not specifically gone that far because I had no real experience at the time that I had the conservatorship to go against or look elsewhere from where I was being told, because um, it was new experience, right? I've never been through that before. So to have that happen and then find out later that I could have called around myself and they would have talked to me because I have the conservatorship and I have the paper to prove that I had the conservatorship, then, you know, I could have done that. And I didn't. I didn't realize I could do that. And you can also limit people as a conservator um, when that person is not doing things in the best interest of the conservative person who's conserved, right? So, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things I would go back and redo, but I'm glad I don't have to, and I'm glad I now have the experience. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comment section. I will be looking at them. Um, and if there are any ideas that you guys would like to talk about or need some support, please feel right in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to reach out. And yeah, that's my um, my talk on conservatorship and guardianship. And I hope you all have a blessed day and remember to lead with compassion. Okay, thank you. Bye now.